Alright, what is good guys? Hope you're having a wicked day. Welcome back to the videos. We're back at Autobahn Pakenham today, and the guys once again have very generously let me use their hoist that they use for all their installs and stuff like that for all the products you can buy at Autobahn. But yes, we have the ute up here today, which we're going to be doing some more work on, getting it ready for both some power and some towing. And today we're actually going to be removing the blocks and upgrading the suspension once again. If you guys remember, this is the current setup that we have for the suspension in the back of the ute. So we have these beautiful Coney adjustable shocks. We also have the white line lowering blocks as well, and we also have some Airbag Man air assists, like a towing assist airbag. We also, once we did all that, we also put some brand new Protex brakes in it too, and some Protex pads. But in today's video, we're going to be making this thing much safer to drive. And one of those things we're going to be doing is removing some of the things that were kind of just a placeholder for the ute to see how it liked it until I upgraded it basically. And so today we're going to be installing a fresh set of King SSL leaf springs for the thing. I found these really cheap on Facebook Marketplace. They were 650 bucks and they are brand spanker. They have maybe 1,000 Ks on the clock. Unfortunately, the guy that I bought them off, he ended up selling his ute, and it was a really nice ute too. So yeah, we're gonna be installing them on this thing today, which means we can get rid of the blocks and it should line up almost perfectly with our SSL front springs that we have on this thing too. Now, a lot of people ask why I'm going through the effort of upgrading this when all it's going to do is put it to the same height the blocks were. There's a few benefits as to why you'd want to run leaf springs over blocks. First of all, you will actually get a better diff angle if you just go straight to the leaf springs as well. The leaf springs are much better set up for the actual angle, which is just awesome. Reduces driveline vibration, everything else as well. The other thing is the blocks are also a little bit bouncy as well. They make the sort of rear end of these things real stiff. Now the benefits of blocks though is the fact that you can just quickly lower them, and you know, it's so easy. You literally jack up the diff, you slide the blocks in, you put the new U-bolts in, and it's done. This is a little bit more comprehensive, but doesn't matter. Now the next thing I also had an issue with was when we did our airbags on this car, I also had to do this mount right here, and it was only touching the top of this section right here. Ideally, you want this hook to be up here. So running blocks, obviously I couldn't run that at like a hectic angle. So this was kind of just sitting around about here or so. But we do want this hook here to be sort of over that little section there. So it's gonna also make our assist bags safer as well, and also put them at a, and also put these at a less hectic angle as well, which is awesome. Now the other thing I'm also gonna be doing is installing the first of many white line products on this car, which is going to be these leaf spring bushes as well. Mine in this car are clapped out, they're dry rotted, and 300,000 Ks will do that to you. So we're gonna be putting these in the car today. We have 4 of them, and they are gonna make this thing ride so much nicer. So all around, this ute is gonna be safer, it's gonna drive smoother, it's also gonna be much nicer because they have a whole bunch of new bushings in there, and just for everything, it's just gonna be so much nicer. So anyway, it's up on the hoist right now. I'm gonna dismantle everything, and then we'll chuck some leaf springs in. And for those of you playing along at home as well, the white line code we're going to be using for this one right here is W71413. That is for our bushings. And then for the springs as well, if you wanted to go ahead and get these leaf springs on every single Falcon form, I cannot find valid information as to how a ute will sit on these springs. So use this video as a guide. These are SSLs. Here is the product number for you, FOR-303 SSL-ZZ. No blocks, no nothing, just those springs alone. This is what they sit like. The rear end of these is super easy to pull apart. Even I could do it. It's literally just a couple of bolts. So first of all, to remove the leaf, you obviously want to support the diff when you're doing this. Oh, hi. Hi. Obviously want to support the diff when you're doing it. So pretty much you loosen off the 4 bolts that undo the U-bolts. If you have a bag set up, obviously undo the bags there. Undo your lower shock bolt, and then pretty much your whole rear axle should just be standing there via the axle stand or whatever you want to use. So now that's all undone, this lower bracket, I'll give it a bit of a pry, but that should just drop straight out. The moment that drops out, I can start jacking up the diff and start loosening off these. They also have these right here, which are your wheel speed sensors. So unless you want to rip these out, I highly recommend undoing the clip that goes between these. Aside from that, these things should be ready to drop. So I'm just going to get a little pry bar, just get these off the bottom here, let these let the springs sit, and then I might even use some WD-40 and try to, try and get those all ready to come off, because they look like they've been in there for a very long time. Here is the new spring versus the old spring. You can see the actual new spring is somewhat of a heavy duty spring as well, so has a lot more leaves. What are we looking at? That's a 5 leaf. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going from a 5 leaf to a 7 leaf spring. Now, you can also see that here the eyelets are flipped as well. So what we'll have to do with this piece here is we'll have to do this one, undo this nut, and then the same on the other side. And then these sort of come apart. We'll attach it to this one right here, so we can bolt it back in the car. Aside from that though, it should be pretty good. I actually think I have some white line things for that one right there, which I completely forgot to bring, but all right, either way, we'll grab the other side out. As you can see, all of this is just hanging here. So we'll get the other side out. We'll start disassembling all of this. Should come out pretty easily. Then we can slide the whole new springs under. All right, so leaf springs are out. There's a few things we need to change over on the actual leaf itself. So first of all, it's going to be obviously those bushes. We want to get rid of them. We're going to be replacing them with some white line goodies. The next thing is these brackets right here. So we're going to have to retain these and put them onto the new spring. So I've just set them up side by side. Now these are a 14, but they're a little bit corroded, so they're a 15 for me. And now these bolts here, it's a very weird setup. They have like two flat pieces and they sort of clamp together. So I was looking at it in the car and just going, I wonder how I can actually get the leaf spring out without undoing these, but you do have to undo like the two 14 mils, which actually makes life a little bit easier, to be fair. These top bushings actually already have some poly bushes in there, which is sick. Love that. And then all you have to do is just adapt it to the next one. So I found that this was pretty grimy, so just grab some brake clean, a little bit of spray lube down the new hole. All right, so you don't want to do these up all the way just for now. You just want to leave them loose because we're actually going to be tightening them up in the car. Now with bushings, you always want to try and tighten the bushing up at ride height. You guys want to notice when I actually took the springs out the car is when I actually completely undid them up here, it would only swing so far because it binds up on the bushings. If you were to do that and tighten them up all the way and then force them up into location, it means you'll put a lot of stress on the actual bushing itself and you can actually prematurely tear it. And it's not ideal. Happens a lot to the front upper arms on a Falcon. A lot of people just chuck brand new upper arms in and then they flog out within a couple of Ks. That's usually the reason. But yes, with bushings, you always want to make sure that it moves freely and then put it up into place and then we'll tighten it once it's in the car. All right, so they're all loose. Everything moves nice and freely. So I'll chuck these back up into the car now and get it ready to bolt back to the axle. Now, because I'm weak and I don't go to the gym, I've devised a very elegant solution to putting up extremely heavy leaf springs into a Falcon. It's not pretty, but it works. So you need a hoist, you need a jack. Get your bolt ready. You just let the jack slide as you... There you go, just like that. The spring is in. A little bit of finagling. Alright, so once again, we're not doing these up tight. We still want them to swing nice and freely because once again, we don't want to bind up that bushing there. Alright, so now after we've done that, we have our new white line leaf spring bushes. Now these will be going directly over that and over that. That's all you have to do. They're installed. Theoretically, you don't need to put this one up now. It's probably going to fall off because we still need to support it with this down here. But at least use the top one for now, because when we swing this up, everything's going to be very close and tight. So I recommend just chucking it on now. All right, now grab your two 14s. We're going to be swinging the leaf spring all the way up, and we're going to be bolting it straight in place. This is where I really wish I had my DAC, but I don't. So it's going to be a lot of manual labor. The leaf springs are now fully installed, ready to go. The only thing I have to do is once everything's all done, is we will just have to tighten all these up. All right, now, next thing we need to do is lower the diff. Now, so the idea of this is you want to try to obviously line up so you guys can probably see inside here is a keyway. Then obviously you want to have that line up with that line up with that. That way it keeps everything centralized on the diff. So when we lower this, the whole thing should come out and hopefully line up with all them. So we'll do that right now. Can I just say, that was much easier than doing blocks on the ground. Thank you, Autobahn. I appreciate you very much. All right, so lower shock mounts. You want to grab all of your U-bolt bolts. And somehow I've lost one. I probably kicked into outer space, to be fair. So, your shock mounts. Do not forget this. Alright, well, doing up U-bolts without tools is always an absolute nightmare. And by tools, I mean pretty much anything powerful, anything electric. Doing it up by hand without a ratchet spanner sucks. It's a 22 mil. It's just a big annoying bolt, and I had to squish all the new polyurethane bushes up there, so they're all good now. All right, so the next thing, we're going to jack up the diff and put it to like a basic driving height. Once we do that, we're going to tighten up all of the 15 mil bolts here and the 18 mil bolt here, and then I can go back to putting the bags back in their spots and should be good to go. So everything is now done up. We have the full leaf spring installed. Now, as you guys can see, this is way safer for the bags too. So the bags can actually clip in the front there. Everything actually mounts up exactly like it should. So the only thing left to do is to just chuck it on the ground. I will put it on the ground and I'll just double check these first. As you can see, we had to reuse the U-bolts from the white line ones because I had to cut off the other ones because they were seized. So these are the white line lengthened U-bolts, but what we'll do now is we will chuck the wheels on, put it on the ground and see what she looks like. Well, first of all, we'll do this. There you go, now she's resting fully on the leaf springs. No more blocks to be seen. All right, we'll lower her down, get some tools out of the way and see how low she sits. Wheels are back on, everything's done up. We're gonna lower the ute. Now, one thing I do want to let you guys know is I am definitely not going for anything low. I really pray that these leaf springs look exactly the same as what the blocks did. If it gives me an inch drop, I'll be super stoked. Anything lower, yeah, I don't know. Once again, I do want to use this for towing, so I really hope this isn't gonna be disgustingly low. We'll lower it down, see if what I did was a good thing, or whether it was probably the worst thing I ever did. We'll figure it out, let's do it. Let's send it, let's send it. There we go. How's that look? Good? Stunning. Stunning? Love what you've done with it. Oh my god, that's actually perfect. I'm so happy. It's low, but it's not like disgusting.
No, it's functional.
Functional?
That's functional.
Good for a team.
You don't get to put as much shit as that,
no, but I do have the bags there.
Oh, you got bags?
I do have bags.
Just.
So the next thing I'm going to quickly do is just pump up the bags. So the reason I'm going to be doing this, the Airbag Men kit requires that the bags always be at least 10 psi. Reason being is because if you don't have any psi in the bags and they extend or they come down a little bit, is they actually suck in, and then when you go to compress them again, they can crease. So if you have at least 10 psi in there and it goes up, it expands because you actually have some positive pressure inside the bag. So quickly do that. We're going to pump them all the way up to probably about 50 psi, get rid of all the creases, and then we're going to let them back down to about 10, and it should sit mint. I don't think I showed you guys a really good demonstration of what these things can do. I'll show you real quick. It's very cool. All right, so we'll go up. So that's probably about the most you'd want to do. And then Alright, so this is honestly my perfect cruising height. It looks so freaking cool. So this is bagged with 10 PSI in, and it is incredibly like similar. The SSL rears match the SSL fronts quite well. So anyway, time to pack up, hit the road, and see exactly how it drives. It should drive much better. Hopefully a lot of my driveline vibration should be pretty much completely eliminated. Diff is now at a better angle. Everything should just be so much happier about the setup. So, all right, I'll take you for a bit of a rip.
Rightio, dragged her outside. This is how she sits. It's very, very, very flat. I think it's a little bit lower than it was before, but I'm not too stressed at all because these leaves do have more leaves on them, do have more pieces of steel. The best thing about it is it's a heavy duty one, so it's going to do less flex than a standard spring. It's going to be better and safer than a block. Love that. Stoked.
All right, driving home right now. These springs feel infinitely better than what the blocks did. I lost a whole bunch of vibration at about 80 k's an hour. They handle really nicely. You can tell they're heavy duty. So big bumps, you sort of sink into them and pop back up nicely. You don't bounce around. Small bumps, it's a little bit more bumpy, but doesn't really matter. Quick little dose check with the new turbs. Can't do anything too hectic right now because I'm not tuned, but this thing has been amazing. It's nice to finally have a win with this car, to be fair, because I'll be completely honest, this thing has left me a little bit defeated with everything that I've done recently. It's sort of been fighting me and hasn't exactly been the most enjoyable thing to work on. So to just jump out today, everything didn't hit cut whatsoever. It was heavy work, but I just managed to get it all done and everything just lined up and I was very, very happy. So massive, massive win there. Very, very happy. If you are debating on going with springs versus going with the blocks, I highly recommend doing a little bit of research. Blocks will give you better ease of use. The fact you can just jack up the diff and undo the U-bolts, slide a block in and then make it all work is really, really good. Blocks will also give you a little bit more ease of, if you measure it at 1.5 inches, you just chuck it straight in and 1.5 inches is what it is. Whereas the leaf springs, you kind of have to rely on people on the internet telling you exactly how much of a drop it is. Like even King Springs say, the SSL will give you between 2 to 4 centimeters. It's like, okay, 4 for me is too low and 2 for me is not enough. So, I mean, I'm glad I took the gamble. I'm glad I put the springs in. I'm glad I got them at a cheap price. So if you can get springs at a good price, I know they're really expensive. Oh, it's also stopped my knocking in the diff. Oh, okay, all right. It used to knock a little bit coming up there, but now it's mint. So yes, guys, I am very, very happy. I definitely recommend going with the leaf spring option. Once again, I put SSLs in the car. I don't think it's too low. I don't actually think that they make a triple SL. I do believe Pettas also do some leaf springs as well that are a little bit lower, but these King SSLs are exactly what I wanted. If you do want like a nice, healthy drop to the point where everything is still going to be legal, I have SSL front, SSL rear with Coney adjustables, rear and front. So yeah, super happy about that. I want to go inside. I'm going to smash together this video for you guys so you can get it up, so you can have a bit of a watch, and then I will see you all later. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.